that that's why they lost. Like we, I spoke about that with Eclipse before, but is a little funny. Like he does have a 100% loss rate on this champion so far, but
True.
Game 3 of Fearless, I mean, even if it's 3-0, you still get to this Game 3 and the bans start to get a bit crazy. Orianna left, will be banned, but the Akali, the Renekton. So what's top lane here? I mean, the Varus is left open, of course. I mean, this could be top as well, but ADC most likely until we see further. But another priority pick left through in the draft.
Yeah, I mean, could be the Varus top like you brought up. No Hoya in this game. He is our resident Varus top expert, but there is going to be a quick Aurora. Can't name my champions today. Misfortune coming on through for the LNG side. 1xN actually has not been the biggest Misfortune guy so far this split, despite the high presence of the champion. He hasn't played it once so far, so this is going to be his first Misfortune game of the split in this Fearless Game 3. Heru, well-versed on the Taliyah, going to snap that one up as the blind mid laner.
Yeah, it's the kind of pick after the Sivir has gone into Varus. I love the hover from Junhao on the Nefiri, kind of highlighting and hinting at that, that matchup we saw the other week, the Varus Nefiri top. But fairly standard stuff. I mean, the Taliyah, very high priority mid. Nautilus picked up. The Rel will be played into that. You can't play Rakan. You could have played Braum. MF Braum is an option, but not the best. You'd like someone who attacks a bit more frequently. So instead, you go someone who can lock down. And you've got a lot of circles in this comp for LNG. It's very simple. And I love simple comps when we get further and further into Fearless. I think that's the way to go. If you have something that's tough to execute on, that has a difficult of execution, sometimes you don't have the champs available to you in Fearless that you might need to get the draft off the ground.
Yeah, certainly. And that was kind of one of the things that players talked a lot about when Fearless was kind of cooking, when they were still in that kind of pseudo-Fearless era where it was only picks for your team, is when you start to get really deep into these series, I mean, it starts to kind of become a contest of who could build a team composition that works, depending on how deep your champion pools end up being. At this level, you hope that you're always going to be able to construct something, but that's not really always the case, especially when you start to go real deep in these best of fives. So far, LNG doing a pretty solid job of getting themselves a nice team fight composition, though, with this Aurora, Misfortune, Rel. Good wombo for them here.
Yeah, I think that ThunderTalk have a nice front to back as well. I'm assuming this is going to be Lethality Virus, so they've got some CC on the first target, a lot of burst potential as well. So there is an identity so far from both sides of this draft, as mostly jungle bans coming through. I'm interested to see with LNG on the second pick what their counter pick will be. If they want to blind a jungler or blind a top laner here. I think it's better to blind top because Gwen is the risk. Oh, I was going to say Cassante. There is still the Scion and an Ornn available, but do you want to go that with the Gwen available? You could take the Gwen, or
Croco.
You could go jungle and go something that doesn't really fit your team very well. I like the Trundle a lot more. I think this is great. So this not only stops the blind tank, because you don't want to give Trundle a good matchup, but it's great into Nautilus, right? It's good into Varus as well because he's a mobile, but Nautilus goes in, you ult the Nautilus, he gets shredded instantly.
Yeah, I like that the Aurora Flex is still alive for them as well here. This could be for Sheer, it could be for BuLLDog, depending on the matchup here. It's not like it's a world beater up against the Taliyah. This isn't real. I'm not going to pretend that it is.
If only.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we can dream, buddy, but
I mean, typically the Varus is still available.
The Varus Flex is still available. That's definitely true. And I mean, that's the kind of matchup where you start to wonder, do you send the Aurora top in that case just to be able to play range v range? The Fury could be real, and it is real.
Okay.
Gets snapped on up by Junhao. Certainly going to be for Junhao, at least you've got to believe. And now here's the question. Does Ryan play this Varus, or is Ryan going to play something else? And Keshi going to play the Varus? Has he learned from his games up against Hoya that he can't play the Yasuo top counter? But no, he's going to go to the Gwen, which is, I think, a very good Keshi pick. He's been performing very well on it, even though he hasn't been able to come home with the wins. He's been individually good. Ryan going to pile with the Varus, and now will it be Aurora top? It's looking like it as they're hovering through mid laners right now.
I think with the Gwen locked in, there's nothing really left up that you want to play against the Gwen. So Aurora is the option. And the Yone in the mid lane. So very big wombo combo team comp here for LNG. And it's a front-to-back comp for TT. They are hitting the first target. And they are trying to kill that first target. Get the reset for Junhao. And Keshi can buy a lot of time in the front line too. I think that for LNG, they are pretty squishy. So I do like this idea. But in a straight-up 5v5 where LNG can land their damage onto you, you're getting knocked up, you're getting, stunned. The bullet time is going to do so much damage here. I think that ThunderTalk's backline is it's got range, which is really nice, but they don't really have a full-on tank. They've got a Nautilus who can interrupt the bullet time, but if LNG get their good fight, it's really tough for ThunderTalk to play out their team fight here. Yeah,
the best thing that ThunderTalk have going for them is they have ways to avoid that perfect fight. They have 2 different forms of invulnerability on the team between Call the Pack and the Mist. And they're going to need to be able to make sure that they can host some of those opportunities wherever possible. Trying to keep Taliyah and Varus out at a safe range. They do have the range advantage as long as they can avoid these big engage angles from coming on through. And it's not like it's the most reliable point-and-click engage in the world either. It's going to need to be flanks from missing on this rel. It's going to need to be, big pillar combos found or something like that. It's going to need to be really well-placed Fates sealed. I'm going to say Fates sealed. I'm going to say it that way. To be able to find themselves these kinds of team fights that they need.
Well, let's jump onto the rift for game 3. Hang on. LNG. Jayo. 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 All right, Gordo, you do ThunderTalk.
I can't bring myself to do that, man. Oh, wait, there's somebody in there. There's somebody.
I hear them.
I hear them. There are ThunderTalk supporters out there. Or maybe they're for LNG. I can't tell. But they're in the background.
Well, ThunderTalk backs against the wall here, Gordo. They bring out this front-to-back comp. We've got the roaming mid from Heru. The strong side top with Keshi, who... it is a tough matchup into the Aurora, but it's a carry nonetheless. And this Varus, to be honest, I'm going to have to get the stats up because I'm really interested on this. I feel like in the LPL, we've seen Varus through a couple of times, and yes, twice it has been in the top lane, but it hasn't really found the success that it has in the beginning of the season. It doesn't have as high win rate as it has in the past, so I'm wondering will the Varus prior fall off. I know it's getting nerfed in the next patch. Let me see if he takes his tower shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think he has Aftershock and absorbed it. It didn't take nearly as much as I expected him to. But, ouch, buddy. It seems like it's not going to have anything to do with whether or not they're going to be able to keep this wave pushed in, though. Just trying to use the love tap power of the Misfortune to put the side of ThunderTalk on the back foot. He does have Aftershock. That's just another
nice
pick of that one from missing. He just loves the ability to kind of sub in his frontliner whenever necessary.
So in the LPL, Varus is by far and beyond the most picked region with 42. The next closest is the LCP with 18, LEC with 13, LCK with 14, but 42 games of Varus that have been not banned in the LPL, and it's won 50% of games. So for the amount of games it's played, it actually still does have a pretty decent win rate. Globally, the top is 50% as well, with only 4 games, and 2 of them are in the LPL, but it is... it's settled around globally at around a 50% win rate. We saw it really high early in the season with a 70% win rate. Nice hook on the missing. The stun back will mean Feather takes a bunch of damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of pain on towards Feather there from those double ups and love taps. And Ryan get a share in on the love a little bit as well. As 1XN really just trying to play out this Misfortune as aggressively as he can. Again, a first-time pick for him, which is surprising given how... much 1XN and Missing have liked to play these sorts of aggressive early game bottom lanes, but I mean, he's looking like he's got no shortage of reps on the pick, playing it out pretty well so far and kind of finding himself up almost a wave of CS here just about 3 minutes in.
Imagine you're just chilling in the top lane, enemy picks Aurora, you're like, okay, that's mid lane, I'll pick Gwen, we can't pick tank, and then it's actually Aurora top. Like, that's really unfortunate. But Keshi, even though having a tough time in the lane and will continue to do so for most of the game, in the team fights, he does so much damage. I think Gwen is also a champion that has found some resurgence, who Kind of fell off the beginning of this year, the end of last year with those nerfs that came in. When we were getting Gwen Rumble trade every game, I found that really enjoyable, actually. I think it was a really skill-based matchup. But when that fell off and we were getting, Rumble, Cassante, Galio, Ornn, and tanks, and Renekton's come back, and hold on, BuLLDog.
Heru. And BuLLDog going to have to take a couple more autos here. He might even be forced to flash. The exchange between Heru and BuLLDog will not result in a kill.
That was really well played from BuLLDog. Heru getting BuLLDog that low and going for the solo kill, also, I have to say, well played, but the fact that BuLLDog reacts to that flash and now is able to stay because he has the Doran shield and the pots ticking with the fleet footwork as well will mean that he's able to catch this wave. And even though that looked awkward, he'll be just fine.
Yeah, definitely. Heru, a player where... Ooh, wait, hang on a second. Ryan forced to flash there as a nicely placed crash down from missing. Threatened his ability to stay in lane. He did opt for the TP this game, but has already used it after being pushed back earlier on. And that lack of a combat summoner certainly being felt here. So now no flash either, and that is a dinner bell over his head for Mr. Croco if he does make his way down here.
Yeah, here's the thing about Rel as well, is that Rel can constantly, Missing can constantly look for Q flash baits, right? Where he can force the flash out as well. Hold on, in top lane, nice trade on the Keshi, but there is a dog and his pack in a brush here. Will she be caught by this? Junhao cancels his base and restarts basing.
Nice hook found by Feather in the bottom lane. Going to result in a great trade for Ryan and Feather. Still not quite able to get the job done, but it will force 1xN out of lane. No return kill to be found. Well played by the ThunderTalk bottom lane. As Ryan having himself one of the better series we've seen from him this season, despite the 0-2 record.
Yeah, what I was going to say about the matchup in bot is that you can bait the flash right with Rel Q, but the flash is gone. So anytime Missing wants to go for a kill, he could just Q flash on Ryan and he will guaranteed be hit by it because it's a virus, but that won't happen until 1xN gets some actual damage online.
Oh, knock up from BuLLDog. Croco in position. First blood goes the way of BuLLDog. Junhao arrives, but it is too little and it is too late. Those dogs will slink back into the jungle. It's LNG with BuLLDog off to the races.
It feels really bad for ThunderTalk, for Heru here, when you use your flash aggressively to look for a solo kill, and then it ends up paying negatively. Now, Croco, it looks so easy. He walks in, gets a perfectly placed pillar, Heru has no flash, BuLLDog ults, and that's an easy first blood for BuLLDog in a matchup that he was kind of losing earlier, nearly got solo killed, and now you blink and LNG, you're up 1,500 gold.
Yeah, definitely a big loss for the mid lane, which was going well for Heru for a while there to end up having to give up that kill. Croco ahead of the jungle matchup as well, and now just camping in this bottom side. Spotted by Feather by that ward. They do throw down a nicely placed pillar, but just going to get rooted back on it. Pulled underneath the turret is missing. Good damage returned there by Ryan with the piercing arrow, but they will be able to retreat no problem here. Now, the real question is, can Junhao find an opportunity to do anything with Croco on the bottom side? He's already gotten himself quite a bit of health back.
I think he's looking for the kill, actually. Croco no ult. Junhao knows this. No flash as well. Maybe just the Raptors invade. Croco will see this as soon as he rounds the corner. That his Raptors will be gone. And the dragon is up, but won't be taken. Well, Junhao straight into mid, actually.
Just paying a little visit there. Knife Dog does just rip through those Raptors, no problem. So picks them up without too much trouble, returning over to his own Raptors to, do it all over again. But missing, making
no flash mid.
Towards mid. Yeah, like you said, Heru, no flash there, but keeps a safe distance and shouldn't be having too much trouble from this realm.
Missing just walks in, procs his Targons on the cannon. Says, job's done, walks away. I like it. Sometimes it is the support's job. Just make sure your team gets cannons. Good damage from 1xN.
Ooh, bullet time coming through onto Ryan. Missing coming in on the flank, and that will be enough for 1xN to get the job done. And that is the LNG duo doing what they do best, getting kills onto the opposing lane.
Yeah, in game 2, we had Ryan actually find some pushback against the bot lane from LNG, but in this game, it's a lot like game 1. And that's with this Varus that is been very highly prioritized in picks and bans, but 1xN simply hits him with a Q, ults him, and then Missing is around the back with a really nice flank caught, I guess, when Feather is on a base timer. And even though LNG aren't able to start up any of these dragons, they will get these 3 grubs on the top side, which with a Trundle feels pretty nice, and 2,000 gold lead for themselves.
But the whole comp, it feels kind of nice. I mean, Aurora going to be pushing on the side lanes. Yone probably going to be in that category as well. It's a great 1-3-1 comp that they've got for themselves, and they're going to be happy to have these grubs at their backs. Croco hunting
this is frustrating.
For Keshi. Process of elimination. Doing big work here as they do find him and push him back away, interrupting that recall. It's going to cost him another wave. Croco's going to try to interrupt him again. Croco, a menace.
That's dastardly behavior. Can't be doing that.
Yeah, no, that's...
I like Croco, but, like, I don't know. Like, all the damage from 1xN, but that's pretty painful for Keshi. He lost a lot of farm. This is a CS, like, 900 gold lead off of CS and plates alone.
Yeah, no, that's... yeah, that's... just going to cost you a little bit of ethics points there. Be going up there, interrupting Keshi's recalls. Dark side points going the way of Croco, but does certainly give him a little bit of an advantage, give some more time for Sheer to be able to farm up on these plates. He's got 3 of them to his name now, and a pretty big individual gold lead, the biggest in the map.
Sheer continues to do very well in this lane. I mean, no first art. Oh, hold on.
Oh,
that's the ult out from Keshi, onto Keshi. And it's just a push out. I don't even know. Does Sheer need to do that? Probably not. Maybe he has first item in base, but they were just using ults for prio.
Ryan, stop taking the bullet time, my
dead.
man. He's going to get solo killed 1 versus 2 because my guy would rather hit minions than step out of the misfortune ultimate. Are you kidding me?
I don't know what I'm watching right now. Ult in top lane for the wave, I guess. He doesn't base, nothing's up, and then yeah, Ryan just stands there and says, I wonder how the bullet time tastes. And he finds out it doesn't taste very nice when it's hitting you in your face over and over again. LNG, they feel like we're back to game 1.
It certainly does feel that way. And 3K gold lead at 11.5 minutes feels plenty good if you are LNG. Croco found over the wall. Junhao looking for the battle. Does have himself a level advantage. Good damage found onto the Trundle, but Subjugate certainly doing as its name would imply. Junhao pushed back away. Heru arrives to the scene, though. Finishes off the kill and puts ThunderTalk on the board. Keshi already low, though. Heru and Junhao all with ticking health bars have to get themselves out of here. Feather TPs into the fray just to back up his boys. Gets a little knocked up by Missing, and now Missing going to get shuffled back in. Could be a little bit outnumbered for a short period of time. BuLLDog going to be here to be able to back him up. Dashes on forward. BuLLDog kind of likes this fight. Sweeps across the team and returns back to his soul. Does look like both parties going to back on away from each other, but Sheer has found himself a low health Keshi and will take his flash.
I can't believe after all of that, it results in back in the top lane, the Aurora just winning the matchup, getting a flash trade, but Junhao looks for the 1v1 on Croco, and he loses the 1v1 down a level because of how good Trundle is in 1v1s, and it's only saved because a really nice ult from Heru buys Junhao some time and is able to rotate off and do some damage to Croco as well, or else that play would have been very winning for LNG. I mean, the second Drake is up soon, Gordo. We've got Ocean and Chemtech, so we're a high chance of rolling like a really high value soul this game. And ThunderTalk do have the first dragon. That's some good news for them, despite being down the 3,000 gold. But we nearly finished our role quests. I assume that Ryan is fairly close. I assume that Croco is fairly close to his as well. Actually, he's just finished his now. So we're just waiting on support from Feather and the 80 carry on Ryan until the quests are all finished. And then we're looking at this second dragon spawn and the Herald.
Yeah, it's rough for Ryan how little time he's actually gotten to spend in lane and how much he's down in CS for having taken teleport in this matchup, right? He prioritized getting back and staying in lane over pretty much everything, and he still hasn't gotten to do it very much. 1xN have been keeping the pressure on and been able to create a couple of kill angles alongside a Missing here. Big cash out for him, and I got to apologize to Ryan. I think I've caster cursed him a little bit here. I was saying at the beginning of this game how well he was doing this series. Heru a little bit found, but actually maybe more than he bargained for the side of BuLLDog. He's going to have to snap back to his soul. Meanwhile, Keshi and Junhao trying to get this fight started, diving forward onto Croco. Keshi going to be able to chop him down, and that's going to give a reset over to Junhao for them to pressure on towards Sheer. Could be a little bit squishy on this Aurora, but returning the fire onto Naafiri to push Junhao back into the jungle. A quick kill picked up by ThunderTalk, keeping them in this game.
All right, so BuLLDog goes in. It has to ult. Wow, so I think Heru is actually playing this matchup really well, constantly catching him. He's always using this Q3, using the E, playing the matchup quite well. And then in top lane, we see the 2v2 that goes in favor of ThunderTalk. Croco just can't do enough damage, but 1xN is up a ton of gold. This is a situation where ThunderTalk have actually kind of pulled the game back in their favor a little bit. And in game one, we were talking about it being Ryan on this Aphelios and his job to really pop off through the game. But this game, it's 1xN's job. He really needs to have a solid team fight. He's got the BT completed, working on the new the new Essence Reaver. My mistake. The Essence Reaver. Soul, Infernal Soul. We rolled a high one for our third game here, Gordo.
Indeed, we did. And it is tied up 1-1, so going to be a while before either team going to be able to secure it, but going to be a major objective regardless. ThunderTalk did manage to put themselves on the board in that department. Still going to have themselves at about a 2k gold lead and going to continue to try to play through these side lanes with those grubs that they obtained earlier on. BuLLDog able to use them to help secure an additional plate here. Rift Herald up for the taking, and few more members up towards the top side here for LNG to see if they're going to be able to try to secure it, missing, holding that river for the time being.
Even despite the matchup in mid, that Heru's been playing pretty well, BuLLDog still has great CS, so he's, even in gold. I think that's a really good thing for LNG because of how hard this lane has been for BuLLDog to play out. He's got the Bork finish. He's got those upgraded boots as well. And this is the slowest game we've seen, Gordo, so far in this series. It's one dragon apiece.
Sure.
It's also the most even game we've seen. A little bit of a gold lead for LNG. They've got 3 grubs. Mostly, the game would be completely even if 1xN didn't play his lane superbly well. Because that's really the only massive gold lead. There is one that has been developing and falling back down in top lane with that top tower. Sheer will... Nice flash from Heru.
Yeah, BuLLDog choosing to go all in here, gets the flash out of his lane opponent. I think you can call that one a quick little victory. Does not use his own summoners for the effort. Meanwhile, that's a ghost out of Feather. They're trying to chase on towards Missing. Junhao just throwing double daggers out there into the bushes. And Croco going to take advantage of that opportunity to secure himself the Rift Herald for free.
He's just chilling. And TP onto the wave here. ThunderTalk are trying to rotate members down to the bot side to punish BuLLDog with no ult, but Missing with the cover. Hook goes wide, barely. But ThunderTalk will get nothing on this side of the map.
Over the wall, Junhao, they still want this fight on a Missing. He's going to stun them both up. Has BuLLDog there for the backup. No fate sealed, of course. But these three are not going to be able to get this play started. Croco arrives, having secured that Rift Herald earlier on, so... he might just use it down here if he sees a good opportunity. That turret already plenty low from the work that BuLLDog has done to it earlier on, and they're going to even look to try to invade onto Junhao's jungle. They see him working on this blue buff, and here they go. Jumping right on towards him, going to try to steal away that blue buff. Did not quite see if they got it, but here comes the backup from Heru. Missing might be in too deep, throws down the Magnet Storm, flashes back out to safety, stays alive. Now BuLLDog is here. Junhao did finally manage to take down Missing with the red buff ticks, but 1xN going to get the kill back on towards Heru. 1-for-1.
Alright, so ThunderTalk did get the blue buff there because Heru got the extra blue buff, and you can see Junhao still has his now, but Croco is using the Herald in mid. Does this kill the tower? I mean, it will with 1xN around, but Missing living for so long. It was only the bleed from Junhao who has to go invulnerable here. And the turrets around the map are just falling in favor of LNG. The bot lane turret here by BuLLDog Split Push, who played that fight really well, and that mid lane turret after the Herald was used too, so... it's still an even objective game with the Dragons, but 3,000 gold lead for 1xN.
Yeah, really good start here. I mean, 1xN is the whole gold lead basically for LNG, and now they're starting to try to take the fight deeper in. It looks like Missing made a mistake here, but he kind of stays alive forever.
Yeah, it's just the bleed from the Nefiri Q that ends up killing him, but it's support for mid lane. Mid lane, like, Heru was the one who picked up the blue buff on the floor, so you deny the additional blue buff, you get a kill onto Heru. Really nice. You break open the mid tower as well, so LNG, they do lose Missing, they don't invade the buff, but they still get a positive trade. 10,000 gold at 20 minutes, that's a lot of gold. He's 3,000 up on his own team, or 2,500 gold up on his own team.
Yeah, this is a wealthy misfortune. He's already on 2 items here, has an item up over Ryan, and Ryan is playing Lethality Varus. One of the advantages of the Lethality builds tends to be that their items are cheap. 1xN doesn't care. He's buying full price, and certainly reaping the rewards. As he rolls back up with an Essence Reaver, also has the additional pickaxe in his inventory. The question is going to be, can he utilize them in a team fight effectively? You really want to get these big bullet time combos down. And he's just stepping up aggressively on his own, going for double ups through the dogs.
It's a nice little benefit of the Nefiri dogs. 1xN forced to flash. A bit out of position there, as BuLLDog is solo killing the dragon, so they're split up here. LNG are doing the dragon. They're a little weaker in the 5v5.
They're grouped up, though. They're TPing in Keshi. Missing going to be the first target. Junhao advancing forward. Dragon at 2k HP. Heru comes in with the Weaver's Wall. Caught on the other side. The dragon going to go down, but so does Missing. Quick pickup for ThunderTalk. Can they get some more? Looks like they're going to have to settle with just the support. So all in all, LNG probably pretty okay having walked away with this dragon.
Yeah, I think you take that for sure. Yona has to use ult, but other than that, you lose nothing. Keshi
coming on forward. Keshi going to stay alive, actually. Gets a lot of work out of the mist. And now here comes Heru up the back of the teleport. Going to be able to punish BuLLDog's teleport, who has to flash away in order to stay alive. Gets that summoner out there in the even exchange of TPs.
All right, well, that's a little bit more favored towards ThunderTalk. The bullet time doesn't really do anything. BuLLDog is forced to TP and flash. But LNG still now with the dragon lead, still with the gold lead. I think that for ThunderTalk, if they are around together, like their pick style comp is what we need to start looking at, right? The hook onto the first target. They have so much front to back damage. The Varus has 2 items now. He's going to be working on the Mana Moon with the fully stacked tier now. So when that comes through, there will be a ton of burst damage to chew through this rel, and especially to be able to kill BuLLDog. I think that he is very vulnerable over the rocks. He can't really find these easy punishes on side lane. Most of LNG's comp is very squishy. So if ThunderTalk can group up around an objective and find a pick, wait for cooldowns, do it again, they have enough damage to chew through LNG.
They certainly do. And it's really all on 1xN. He's pretty much the entire lead, right? You get rid of 1xN, and you're basically just looking at a couple hundred gold, which at 22 minutes is not all that substantial. You've seen that Heru's going to be able to pump out the damage. You've seen that they've been able to deal with BuLLDog without too much trouble. Keshi is a big threat, especially once he gets his second item completed on this Gwen. Getting that additional kill worth of gold onto Croco earlier, a big help for him, but now he is getting targeted. A little bit of a caster curse here on to my boy Keshi, trying to snip his way out of this one, focusing on to Croco. 1 or 2 more snips and do it, and Keshi outplays the gank. 1v2, kill back to the Gwen.
She is going to have to TP, I assume, because Junhao is on the way. He's too late. He's dead.
On the hunt, call the pack, baby, is in comes Junhao, choosing to hold on to the ultimate for now, scans him out, actually can't get vision of him, finally does it, and a dash into a reset for Junhao. 2 kills to ThunderTalk as they reach too deep into the cookie jar for Keshi.
A huge lead on this jungle roll now. Junhao, 1,300 up against this Trundle, who goes way too far in the 2v1 to chase Keshi down. And even if you got that kill, what do you get from it? Do you kill the full turret? He's probably not staying around.
Uh-oh, Keshi. Get out of there, brother. Oh, no. Make it rain finds him, and now he's going to get magnet stormed right back in. There's no drain tank in 1xN when he's this far ahead. Keshi will fall. Kill credit over to the carry.
Still going here. The wall onto Croco.
All right, Heru looking to be able to shuffle back in Croco. He's trying to put on the fancy feet, trying to put on the blue suede shoes, trying to dodge his way out, but Junhao will find him with the double daggers. That's twice in a row now. Croco gets picked off. 0-4. What might be his worst game of the season so far. Haven't seen Croco struggle in an early game like this in quite a while.
Yeah, we are just kind of scrapping. Keshi, after getting targeted all that, just wants one wave in bot lane, and there's 2 more people who show up to kill him, but then Croco comes out of base and dies again. So it ends up being a 1-for-1 across the map. This is not clean from LNG. It's not what we saw in game 1. It's not what we want to see from a team who is in the conversation for making it to Group Ascend. But LNG still maintain the lead. And this lead for 1xN is really building. He has 3 massively expensive, valuable items. The BT, the Essence River, and the Infinity Edge, working on what I assume will be an LDR or maybe a shield bow. There's not really a ton of, protections on the side of ThunderTalk, so maybe he could go towards the shield bow instead if he wants a bit more survivability. But Junhao now has 2,000 gold lead over Croco. He's got 3 items of his own, and Nefiri scales very well. With 20 seconds on this next Drake, it will be soul point for LNG. TP into mid.
Junhao, nice call to pack there to be able to dodge out on a potential stun from Missing. Trying to get himself a little bit of an inside track here to be able to threaten out a 1xN. Having these assassins available in your team composition when a lot of the gold is all funneled into this misfortune. Gotta feel plenty good for the ThunderTalk side. They are the ones with control over the river as this dragon is alive, but the fight gonna get started. It's Missing, dives back onto Heru. Ryan gets 1 shot before the fight really even starts, and now Sheer hunted for Heru on the backside, able to connect that 2-fold hex, looking to be able to finish off the Talia. Still can't quite find the damage to be able to do it. Keshi arrives, but is it too late? He's looking for Missing, dive forward for Junhao. They want to be able to make this a 1-for-1, but the stun comes right back, and Keshi just gets eviscerated by the full LNG lineup. Croco stepping forward to be able to execute on a feather. 3 kills to LNG for nothing back to ThunderTalk.
Missing's engaged with 1xN's bullet time, does so much damage to ThunderTalk. And the lead on this Nefiri is not enough. Soul point will go over to LNG unless a miraculous steal from Junhao, but the dragon is already taken. LNG poised in this game. They have a great position, so Missing goes in. He is the one who pulls the trigger, and 1xN is ready. There's the Q flash I was talking about. And the bullet time, so much damage. Heru doesn't die, but Ryan does. And Heru is low. Gwen rotates over, and maybe there's an option here to look back, but Keshi and Junhao just don't do enough. Missing. He doesn't even die in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, you do not get team fight angles with this team composition from LNG that are better than this. Not only does Missing find a flash stun onto a carry, but the second carry is also there, so both get caught in the Magnet Storm, and you have room to throw down the bullet time on top of both of those carries, and nobody can threaten the misfortune, so she can full channel the bullet time. It's just perfect, Jbetto. You can't draw it up better than that.
Yeah, I really think for ThunderTalk, I don't think this or the last game have realistically been draft diff. I think in game 1, it was a really big draft gap. Like the Rumble, the Nico, like how did LNG get that comp? But in these last 2 games, I don't think it has been. And in this game, I think that ThunderTalk do have a good draft. Yeah. I haven't really seen any pick potential though. Like, no looking on a side lane together. No hook target, first target, try to burst that person down. And now Keshi's been spotted on the bot lane. This TP is blind too, so they won't know BuLLDog has left. So Keshi does have TP. It's late. The Baron is nearly gone here.
Yeah, Junhao going to get spotted out here. Needs to be able to get in here to be able to
Pulling off?
steal. And LNG, they pull off. They do not want a 50-50 this. Probably the wise choice. Junhao could have contested on that one. And now Junhao might be up too far, going to have to dash his way out to safety. They do get the inside track onto mid. They will be able to take down the mid outer. Keshi stepping forward, thinks he can snip away at Croco with the rest of the team still there. And Croco's now so low. Missing gets caught in the Dragon Pit, or the Baron Pit rather, and they will be able to finish him off. Junhao claims that kill credit. It's a 5v4 on the map. ThunderTalk, all 5 members right on top of the Baron. They just picked the engage.
And now ThunderTalk are on this Baron. No jungler around. He had to reset. There is a bullet time and a fate sealed from the backline.
Oh, Ryan takes a lot of damage from that bullet time, but now 1xN going to have
It's
to
just
cancel
gone.
it. The Baron going to end up going down. Smited successfully by ThunderTalk. Kill on the BuLLDog. 1xN trying to step on up, but he's got to be cautious with this shutdown gold that he holds in his inventory. But look at that damage. Feather and Junhao take a big double up to the face, and they're looking to chase them down even further. Croco still here on the front line. Sheer looking around on the flank. Pillar comes out. The recalls are being channeled, but they're getting interrupted by Make It Rains, and finally LNG just going to say, hey, we're playing with fire. We've got to let these guys go.
It does waste a good chunk off of the Baron, so there is that for LNG, but I don't really know what the idea is for this Baron start. You TP BuLLDog off of Vision, and then you get... There's Gwen's TP in response, but the play would have been great if BuLLDog hadn't TP'd, if you had gotten Keshi's TP and then walked away. But instead, you give over priority. Missing is completely out of position. ThunderTalk is still in the area. I don't really know whether he's looking to de-ward or thinks that this is, you know, a position to flank maybe. But with Missing dead and Croco in base after that, ThunderTalk walk in and get the Baron basically for free. They only have a minute and a half left of this Baron though, so LNG have done a good job of wasting ThunderTalk's time. How much can ThunderTalk get with a minute until the dragon spawns? They will still have Baron for 30 seconds after the dragon spawns.
Absolutely. And that is the moment of pressure that they will need to be able to deny this soul. LNG, with much of their gold lead stripped away here. Junhao so wealthy on the Naafiri. And now push back away. Here comes the Weaver's Wall. Sheer going to barely be able to jump over to the other side, but they will claim their prize of an inner turret, which will push the gold lead over to the ThunderTalk side. But now what about LNG coming in from the flank? Missing already lost most of his HP. Croco still seems to want a little bit of action here because he's got 1xN on the other side. Sheer coming in on a big TP flank. Going to be able to find a big between worlds. There's going to be the opening up of the bullet time. Keshi takes a huge chunk of damage. Ryan going to get melted down as well. BuLLDog's already been able to finish off Heru. Down go both carries. Keshi going to be up next on the menu. He snips down Missing, but he will lose his life in the process. Junhao getting chased down by Croco, and just like that, LNG snap a trap shut and take the lead right back from under ThunderTalk's nose.
And they'll continue going forwards. Feather might get out with this blast cone, but the damage has been done, Gordo. The Infernal Soul is being done by BuLLDog, and a Baron does not stop the bullet time from killing your entire team. There is nothing that ThunderTalk can do when 1xN presses R in the right direction on the right target with this 4-item deep MF. He just tears them apart.
Yeah, I mean, literally has no CC for it, but it doesn't matter because they are stuck. They can't continue to walk upwards. There's a wall right in front of them, so they've got to walk through. Keshi and Ryan lose so much here.
Yeah, Ryan gets basically one shot. Even though he flashes, Heru is caught and dies as well. And that's enough. Now, even though they have Baron, even though, you know, ThunderTalk have some good items completed, when your health bars are just lower than half because enemy AD carry pressed R, there isn't a way to win the fight. This is why I think that simplistic comps in Fearless just do so much better, because 1xN doesn't need to worry about any, you know, difficult of execution comp. He just walks in and presses R and ThunderTalk die.
Yeah, I mean, no real way forward as there's a fight breaking out on the other end. Heru going to be the focus of that potential pick, and really great flank by Sheer there. It gets kind of overshadowed by the bullet time, but Sheer is what really creates the opportunity for that battle by coming in and cutting off the escape route, finishing off Heru basically on his own. Even though the extra damage does come on through, I don't think obviously Sheer doesn't get the kill credit, but a lot of that damage, a lot of that pinch comes through from the Aurora on the flank. And now LNG find themselves right back in control. They have the Infernal Soul. They have the extra damage. And they're going to claim themselves inner turrets right back.
Yeah, they have Infernal Soul with a ton of scaling here with the Yone, with this working on 5 items MF. It'll be the RFC, I assume. And, I mean, those love taps are going to do so much damage, especially if they ricochet off of anything. Like, if he kills a dog and it hits Junhao, it'll take so much of his health away. Even the base ones hitting, you know, Ryan, if he doesn't have Spell Shield, will do, you know, half of his health. Heru probably the same. I mean, with this Infernal Soul, it's such a scary combo because, like you were talking about before, how do you get onto this MF? How do you cancel the ult? Like, does Feather have to flash in an ult? But even then, the damage is probably already done. This is a desperation bush bait with Ryan fishing himself as bait here. But ThunderTalk will get nothing from it.
Yeah, Ryan, I mean, hey, at least he's embracing this role in life. Out here playing bait for the rest of his teammates. Heru and Keshi kind of the big, and Junhao, of course, are the big damage dealers on this team. I think this Varus' moment, maybe occasionally going to be able to soften up a target, but largely going to be playing a little bit more of a utility role here. And now, not going to be able to find anybody to catch for the rest of this squad. Just going to end up pushed in pretty much across the board here. Keshi trying to threaten on the bottom side, but it's going to be a long ways away before he's able to touch that inhibitor turret.
Hook goes wide from Feather. Baron has spawned. Well, there's the W from Junhao to avoid one of the double ups there. But how many more can you avoid? LNG have a really fast Baron with Yone 2. MF early game doesn't have a super fast Baron, but 5 items. MF has a decent amount of attack speed with the RFC. So much crit as well, like 100% crit. She does so much damage. I mean, last item is probably just going to be a GA. But LNG can do no wrong here. I mean, missing its chunk down. ThunderTalk still have no way of getting in. Like, LNG have great vision. BuLLDog's just either damage checking or he's just decided he can solo the Baron. Well, the Baron's gone.
Yeah, it does seem to be so. Junhao's on the wrong side of the map. The Baron is down below half HP. Missing is catching out Heru, or at least marking him. And that's Baron buff to LNG. Alongside their Infernal Soul, they are certainly equipped to push for some base turrets here as soon as they get their waves figured out. Keshi pushes in the bottom side, goes for a recall, looking for his 4th item, but ThunderTalk muster no resistance to the Baron buff.
Well, ThunderTalk will get an Elder flip unless LNG can end the game in the next minute and a half, which I think is pretty unlikely. Croco is spotted on this ward. That is so ridiculously, like, the guts Croco has to have to stand there when he sees them in the brush with his sweeper and not do anything. Like, Feather could flash the wall. Heru could look for a, you know, if he was there, right? He doesn't, like, Croco doesn't know where. Oh, Junhao is just dead.
Flash over the wall on towards Junhao. Junhao doing his best to be able to retreat back away. Will be able to stay alive. Croco now going to be the next target. Look at that bullet time damage, though. Ryan and Feather are nearly taken down by the ultimate alone, but do manage to hold on for the time being. And now missing, looking to fend off any remaining stragglers. Not going to be able to find any kills here, but LNG get to flex their muscles a little bit.
Yeah, this bullet time does so much damage. It nearly fully killed Ryan with just the bullet time. Now Heru is into stasis, but will not fall down just yet. The map is falling apart, Gordo, for ThunderTalk. There's, you know, 20 seconds on this Elder. You were maybe hoping for a flip, and Junhao's in base. 1XN is nearly full build. BuLLDog has 4 items deep. LNG are so strong right now. What did we miss here? Missing using a flash, or Missing just died? Oh, Missing died. I didn't even see.
I didn't either. I mean, but there he goes.
All right.
Bye-bye,
well,
Missing.
Elder's up, and ThunderTalk are doing it. BuLLDog's forced a TP over. If we could find a good wall from Heru here, but even despite the numbers advantage, ThunderTalk don't feel confident.
Alright, well, can ThunderTalk try to get in here and do something? Missing going to be back here before you know it, so they'd better start pulling that trigger soon. Keshi looking around on the flank. They are coming back out of base with Feather. Keshi taking a little bit of a chunk here, going to try to find an angle on towards Sheer, and now Missing has arrived, so Keshi's got to back on away. Weaver's Wall comes on across, does cut off BuLLDog and Croco, but the follow-up is not quite there. Double daggers going in towards the Elder. Junhao forced to back away. Heru takes half his HP in a chunk, and now LNG see their opportunity to push on forward. Feather throws out the hook, finds it on a missing. Bullet time comes across, doesn't find its target. BuLLDog gets the first kill of the fight. It's on towards Feather. Keshi now 1 versus 1 with BuLLDog missing, going to disrupt that, but Keshi should be able to finish off. No, he can't. 1xN turns around, fires away. Meanwhile, Sheer just demolishes the rest of ThunderTalk on the opposite side, and that's going to be an ace for LNG. 5 for 0. They're going to clean out this series. It's a 3-0 as many predicted, and LNG continue their march towards making the run from Nirvana to Ascension.
LNG will continue their undefeated streak in 2026. They've taken down Group Nirvana. They will brush ThunderTalk aside, and now one best of 5 stands between LNG and Group Ascend.
It was what a lot of folks predicted. It was what looked like it was destined to happen based on these set records that you're looking at the bottom of your screen, but ThunderTalk put up a little bit better of a fight than expected in that game number 2. Started to show a little bit of life in game number 3 as well, but LNG show up. They play to their level, and they are able to handedly take a 3-0 sweep of the series.
LNG, I think that they found some of that stability that they had in game 1 in that third game. The Infernal saw the Elder. There's so much damage at the end of the game. There is no way to win for ThunderTalk. But I will say they did put up a fight. I was worried after that first game, Gordo, that we weren't going to see, a real performance from ThunderTalk. I thought they were just going to sit there and lose the series, but they actually came back. Game 2 could have easily gone their way. Game 3 was a lot closer. The early game was a lot closer as well, but LNG will end up winning this series 3-0. They'll move on in the play-ins, and they are close. They are close.
They certainly are, and that will move them on in here to be able to play in this next round. We don't know whether they will play WE or IG yet. That's going to depend on who wins EDG versus OMG. If EDG wins out, then LNG will play against IG. If OMG wins, then LNG will play against WE.
I mean, for LNG, I think you're... Actually, I don't know. Who are you hoping for here? WE went to 5 games against top esports, and IG lost to NIP. So, I think for LNG, you just prepare for both. You watch this next series. As soon as you know, get the prep going, and don't even think about it, right? Don't consider, I would have preferred that matchup, I would have preferred this. I think that they both seem to be fairly even in terms of, power, in terms of who you'd want to play against. But it is up to OMG and EDG. If OMG do lose, like you mentioned, then it will be IG meeting LNG, and that would be ridiculous. That means that either LNG or IG will not be making it to Ascend, to Group Ascend, will not make it to playoffs, and we'll be seeing them in Group Nirvana for Split 2.
Yeah, for me, if I'm LNG, I would rather go up against WE. If purely for the reason that I think BuLLDog has been their lowest performing member so far this season. When I was casting all-pro ballots, I put BuLLDog as my one not first-team player for Nirvana. And if that's something that you accept as true, much rather play against Karis than Rookie. I know Rookie hasn't quite had the season that you hope for him so far, but it's Rookie, baby. I mean, come on. That's my opinion coming on in. But, I agree. I think LNG is going to have to prep for both. You can't guarantee any results of this upcoming series, so you're going to have to just, just win, as we say in NA Amateur. Just play the opponent in front of you. That's all you can do.
Yeah. An important series after this for that as well, but some of these teams that we're seeing will continue into playoffs, and they will also just have to just win in those matches too. But this is a lot closer of a game. I think that ThunderTalk, although they are eliminated from the playoffs and they will be in Group Nirvana for the next split, I think that they didn't perform badly. That game 1 was very tough to watch. That was a stomp. But they had pushback in game 2, massive pushback in game 2, and a good fight in this third game here as well. I'm excited to see how this team does. further on into the season. And can they get some wins? They are still series lossless. They still only have one individual game win. You know, starting to build up, that would be a really good start to the Split 2. We're a while away from that. They are eliminated until April. For LNG, I think that there are some things that they need to work on here. You know, that second game, some of those team fights that, you know, we pointed out at the start of the series, you know, against maybe not WE, maybe not IG, but if you do make it to Group Ascend, those stronger teams will not let you disrespect them like that by giving over a big lead and then pulling it back with 1xN on Sivir.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's a somewhat of a good sign for ThunderTalk coming into their future that, you know, Junhao is able to have a performance like this up against Croco. I think this was a solid game out of him on the Naafiri. It's what may be a little bit of a pocket pick for him. This is not a pick that very many folks are bringing out currently. I think it is somewhat a good sign for LNG that Croco can have a game like this, and you can still, you know, find success, find good engage angles, play around 1xN, and just execute via your Fed members, even if your jungler isn't kind of styling the way that Croco has for so much of this season. Again, you know, this guy has so many player of the games. He has the most player of the series in the league. LNG lean on him very heavily, but the fact that he can have a down game and you can still show up and you don't just lose by default, a good sign for them, despite the fact that there was definitely some stuff to clean up in this series.
Series MVP. Oh, Croco didn't have the best game this game. It's definitely not an MVP this game for him, but I could definitely see 1xN for the series.
Yeah, I think he had 2 real good games. I think that's
He
enough.
did.
I think that's enough. That's more than anybody else had.
Shia did also have like a really, like you mentioned him in this fight that we're watching right now, like one-shot Heru. He had a really good game on the Nah. I think Shia could be a possibility too.
I think that's fair.
I think that LNG did, you know, they played very synergistically. They played really well together, and oftentimes, because of the meta, that's what wins you the games. It's constantly dragon fights. That's what is happening so many times in the LPL and other, you know, global regions as well in Tier 1. These objective fights are super important, and having great team fighting is kind of paramount to having your team perform.
Yeah, absolutely is here, and I think that's somewhere that LNG have really stood out. Yes, they are frequently ahead at, you know, 15 minutes. Yes, they have had really strong laning phases, especially through mid and bot. But also, you know, Sheer over the kind of the back half of this season really started to put up some really good numbers for himself as well. But it's always been these team fights. It's always been these skirmishes, the ability to collapse together, the ability to, you know, just go in on one call, whether it be Missing or Croco finding the engage. They've been very, very good at the snap follows from their main frontliners, from their main engagers, and that's been true basically all season long, and it held true in this series as well.
Yeah. And, I mean, going forwards, I mean, your opponents are either WE or IG, and I think that mid lane matchup is going to be an important one. I think that if it is IG, you know, you're against Rookie. That it's hard. I know, like you mentioned, not everyone has been as excited. Like, Rookie hasn't performed to maybe the level that he can, but I think that you're either very... it's got a very interesting mid lane matchup with the IG one, or you're hoping that BuLLDog can really take over the series if it's a WE matchup and have a bit of a better performance. Not a better, a more impactful. I think that he was very quiet in this series. The Azir was quiet. The Yone, it was good. He kept the game even, found some good ults, but for the most part, it wasn't really BuLLDog's name we were saying throughout this series. And I think that to get into Group Ascend, we're going to need to say his name a little more.
Absolutely here. We'll find out if they're going to be able to do it. Looking forward to the upcoming LNG series as we bid farewell to ThunderTalk for the winter split. Going to be able to say that at least one more time tonight for one other team, as we do have the upcoming OMG versus EDG series. You're going to have 2 new casters for that one, so Jbetto and I are going to bid you all farewell. Thank you for joining us for this first one, and stay tuned for EDG OMG coming up in just a couple of minutes.